Have you ever felt stuck? Do you wish that you and your teams could have that little bit more energy? Are you in hope of building a vibrant culture, capital V, capital C? Now, if you've said yes to that, you're in absolutely the right place. My guest today is on a mission to energize, impact, and influence individuals to lead a more vibrant life, capital V. Okay, we're looking for vibrancy here. And what she's trying to do is to make sure she's engaging what's possible and make it probable. I love that. She's a certified coach. She's an entrepreneur and a race car driver. Nicole Greer. Welcome to the Leadership That Sells podcast, where we help you lead first and sell more with great insights and tactics from the best minds we can find. Every leader is in sales, whether you're selling products, ideas, a mission or a vision, and great sales team in particular need great sales leaders. When managers bring out the best in their teams, targets get hit on time every time without stress. But most sales leaders never learned how to lead. They wing it or they repeat bad habits and the cycle continues. Sales leaders need practical, real-world ideas that fit their busy schedules, and that's why we created the Leadership That Sells Playbook course. 9 short weeks changes your world. Check it out at the Practical Leadership Academy. And now, on with the show. Nicole Greer, thank you very much indeed for joining me.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to be here. Thank you for having me, Paul. We're going to have a lot of fun.
I am certain of it. Now, that was a fairly short and sweet introduction to somebody with your experience. Could you expand on it ever so slightly?
Of course. Yeah. So I started out my career in the restaurant business. I don't know if anybody out there can relate to that, but I think everybody should have to work in the restaurant business because you feed people and you have to talk to people and you have to be nice to people and you have to wait on them hand and foot. And I think really that's such a good training ground, no matter what business you're in. So I started there, then I got into property management. Now, not only did I feed them, but they lived with me. I ran beautiful apartment communities. And ever since, I kind of kept finding myself in this training role, Paul. So every time I turned around, they're like, let Nicole train them, let Nicole train them, let Nicole train them. And so I think it's just because I really love business. I think it's so fun. I had a grandmother who would play board games with me and she never let me win. Like eventually I beat her, but like she never let me win. So I've got like this thing about like, I like playing the game of life, which was actually a board game, and Monopoly and Stratego and all these things that we used to play together. And I just think life is fun. And when you get out there, you give good customer service, you make a sale, you make a customer happy, you just went one more time around the board and you collected $200. So I absolutely love business. So, that's where vibrant comes from. It's the energy.
That's magnificent. My daughter's name is Vivian. That's just vivacious and vibrant,
Oh,
right? So I like
yeah,
vibrant culture. That's really, really good. So
yeah,
you've got this bug for business, the business bug.
I
Is
do.
it competitive? Is it a competition or what is it?
It is competitive, but I think it's more competitive with myself. One of the things I've always believed about business is you're going to have competitors. You need to get your market survey together, figure out who's out there, and get your pricing right and do all the right things. Put your business acumen to work. But when I think about competition, I just think, how could I do better today? How could my team do better today? And the thing about the world we live in now is, I could just pick up, a book that somebody has written and pull one nugget out of there and apply it because really winning the game is about applying the strategies, applying the systems, applying the smart things to do. And I could do better today. And doing better is so much fun. It's just so stinking much fun. Why wouldn't you want to do better? Why would you want to do worse or just, have an apathetic day? I don't want to do that.
I think it probably takes quite a bit of effort to do worse. If you think about it, you've actually got to
Oh,
put
yeah.
some effort into trying to screw something up. I mean, if you just don't do it, it's going to be the average, right?
Right.
Showing up is half the battle. Doing something and just putting your back into it, a little bit of effort into it, and you're going to just gradually improve. I think
100%.
the biggest challenge I certainly find is just staying on the log long enough so you get to the other side.
That's
Keep
right.
paddling. Just keep paddling. So it's that I think is, I'm beginning to think that resilience and grit are in fact underrated. They're not skills, perhaps, but traits, determination, just keeping on going through
Mhm.
thick and thin. That's something I'm seeing more and more.
Yeah. Well, I think resilience and grit are character traits. You're 100% correct. But there are little habits that we can put in place that help us build the grit and help us build the resilience. I have a coaching methodology. It's called SHINE. And so it's SHINE. It's an acronym. And the H is about habit work. And so one of the greatest things you can do to build grit and resilience is like set your alarm clock and not hit the snooze button. Like something very simple like this in your life. It's like, no, I get up at 5 o'clock. I don't negotiate with myself every morning for 25 minutes. I just get up, I get out of bed, I get in my routine, I get rolling. I think that's important. And then it gets to the point, like anything in life, where if you do something enough, then you gain the confidence and you gain the grit or like it's energy. I think the energy to keep going. It's like because like you said, I don't want to lay in the bed. There's something ticks off in your brain. I could lay in the bed, but then you get to the point where you're like, no, I don't lay in the bed. That's not how I am. I'm a person who gets out of bed. That's just a silly example, but it could really change your life. Get up, get going.
It is those tiny things. I think, like you said, there's a couple of things you mentioned there that resonate. It's finding that one nugget from some source. I
Hmm.
firmly believe you can outlearn and outread the competition. I mean, I'm surrounded by books here,
Yeah.
and it's almost a debilitation. I have a one in, one out thing now. My two vices, wine and books, preferably at the same time.
Oh,
But
oh, I totally agree.
I don't want to talk to people. My goodness me. Um, if you can, and I learned a wonderful thing actually. Somebody told me once is that see when you're reading a book, if you've got something out of it and you're getting bored, put the book down. Don't force yourself to try and read it. Don't force it to finish it. If it pulls you in, fine. But otherwise, just put it down. Because I used to feel really guilty. There's this wonderful Japanese word called sonduko. Sonduko
Hmm.
means the pile of unread books.
Wait, what's it? What is it?
Yeah, exactly. Sonduko.
Oh my gosh, I have
Uh,
a Sanduko.
oh yeah, well, yeah, me too. With bells on. I've got this wonderful book called. It's like I don't know what book. Ha, of course it is. It's a book that's it's something like wonderful untranslatable words. It's like untranslatable words, like the ikigai concept or ohana, all these different things that kind of you translate, or the Danish word hygge, meaning kind of comfortable, cozy, but really friendly, warm. But it doesn't. There's not one word. So Sunduka with a T, the pile of unread books. And somebody, this
Yeah.
same guy, this is why I love books and wine, right? He said that, a book is to be treated as your bookshelf. You can treat it like your wine shelf. You put something on there and you take it off at just the right moment. You pull it out,
Mm.
uncork it, and drink of the book. And you drink of it until you're done, not until the book's empty. Because, like a bottle of wine, if you drink a bottle of wine in your own, you're going to be having a little bit of a fizzy head in the morning. Anyway, how did we get to this? No. So you said
I don't know.
pull
I
that
was saying
one
you can pull
nugget.
a nugget out. Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
You
Yes,
pull a
yes.
nugget out. So you pull that one nugget out and you use it. And like you're saying that these little habits are marvelous. So you got a little habit. I tell a little habit to some salespeople and says, look, if you call yourself a salesperson, I want you to make sure you ask for a discount the next time you order coffee at Starbucks. Ask for a discount because then you get comfortable talking about money. You get comfortable doing these things, making these things a habit because it's the habit. You don't have enough willpower in the world. There's not enough willpower. You've got like a bucket of willpower. You use it up really quickly. But how do you make these things habits? Okay, so SHINE. I want to know more about this. H is for habit, so I'm already captivated. What's the S?
Okay, so the S is all about self-assessment. So, when people think about, how's my life going? How are things in my life? Is it vibrant? A lot of people want to point their finger out into the world and say, it's the world's fault. It's the politics, it's the
Oh,
election, it's my neighbors, it's my husband, it's whoever. But really, when you're pointing your finger out, we all know this one. You point one finger forward, you got four pointing back towards yourself. And so you have to do what's called self-assessment. So I think the most important thing we can do as we navigate this life is turn the mirror inward. So, what is going on with Paul? What is going on with Nicole? And, when I coach people, I ask them a very powerful question. First question I ask every single person I coach is this: what is it like to experience you? And most Paul, most leaders are like, "Oh, wow, that's a good question. I've never really thought about it." And I'm like, "Well, it's high time you did."
Hmm.
And the reason why we need to realize there's an experience of us. Yes, we're experiencing the world, but the way I move in the world is a big contributor to how my day will be and the world that I will create around me. So I'm either attracting, good vibes and good people and good experiences, or I'm putting out a negative vibe, a black vibe, a dark vibe, and I am, making it ugly around me. And I think we get in our own way quite a lot with how it is to experience us. So the client is always kind of in the hot seat about bringing their best self to the party. So that's self-assessment. We can do all sorts of things, emotional intelligence assessments and personality and character traits and positive intelligence and change intelligence and all these things. But self-assessment's number one.
Hmm. So you start off with self-assessment, physician heal thyself, know yourself, to thine
Mm,
own self be true. There are so many
mm,
different ways of saying, you know, yeah, personally, I think if you want to understand humans, you look in the mirror. You've got everything you need right there.
that's
Everything you
right.
need. We are all perfect and wonderfully made, fearfully and wonderfully made, I think the line.
Yes, we are.
And that encapsulates an awful lot of fear and an awful lot of wonder. Really? And if you can
I
get that,
wonder why I got this.
the,
That's what I often think when I look in the mirror.
whoa, okay. So how do people experience me? Wow,
Yeah,
that's
isn't that a good question?
is lovely. It is
Yeah.
really, really lovely. You must get some weird and wonderful answers, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll tell you a funny story. I had a young woman. She was the absolutely most beautiful lady on the outside. Um, and she was in trouble. She had moved from one location in the southeast of the United States to another location. And in her old location, she was like an all-star. She was killing it. She was in charge of business resources. So she serviced all the salespeople and was part of the marketing and did all sorts of event planning. And she was an all-star. And she comes up to this new location and she starts to go to work. And she, again, looks amazing. She's doing amazing things. She's holding people accountable. I mean, this lady's a true leader. And here she finds herself being assigned a coach named Nicole Greer. So we go to meet each other, and first question I ask her is, so tell me what's going on. What's it like to experience you? She goes, well, apparently I am a bitch. And I said, really? How how true is that? Because I didn't take the bait. I didn't debate it with her, and I didn't get upset with her. But I said, well, how true is that? She goes, not true at all. She said, I hold people accountable. They came up here. They told me they needed to make sales. They told me they needed events. And so I started filling the calendar and asking for help. And when I would assign things to people, I would follow up. And apparently that's why she got sent there in the first place. The department was broken. And here she
Mhm.
comes trying to fix it. She got in trouble for being too strong,
Mhm.
you know? So we sat back and we looked at the whole scenario. And as I worked with her, I'm like, she's not a bitch. She is awesome. It's just that she came on in a very strong manner. And we all know about personality. And I don't know what tools you use, Paul. I'd love to know, but I use like a couple tools around personality. One of them is DISC, and she is a D, which means she's got dominance. She's in the room, she's powerful, she's making stuff happen, but in the most lovely, classy way. So we moved past the habit work piece because it looks like she's holding people accountable. She's calendaring things. She's holding meetings. We went to integrity, which is the I in the Shine coaching
Mm.
methodology. And when I asked her, I said, so where could you be more in integrity with this team? And so what we found out is, she's very good at driving the numbers, driving the agenda, driving the calendar. But really, the part of her personality that she needed to kind of think about was, I need to be a little bit more empathetic and compassionate for this team because they had a leader who was soft, a leader who didn't hold people accountable, and a leader who didn't drive things. And so now they're getting a leader who's going to do all those things and overnight. So even though they need to get with the program, do these people need to get with the program? The answer is yes. But she needs to kind of woo them in and not be frustrated with them. So she should hold them accountable, but she is going to have to soften up a little bit. So when I talk about the I in the coaching methodology, Shine coaching methodology, there's four kind of areas that we look at in far as integrity. Like one is, do you care about the people? So
Mhm.
there are things like building trust, building empathy, being likable, right? That's a huge thing for leaders. And so that's where we worked with her, like how could you do all the things you're doing plus be likable and build trust? Because that's really where she needed to work, right? And she's trustworthy for sure. But then there's three other quadrants, and one is wisdom. Do you know the business? Do you know business in general? Do you have business acumen? Do you know how to run a meeting? Do you know how to do the diligent work that needs to be done inside of a business? And buddy, did she know? She knew how to do that in spades. She was great. Then there's a third quadrant, and that is courage. She has loads of courage. She got in the car, drove up to the new location, moved her whole house, moved her kids, and started doing this business. So she's bold. She wanted to champion the business, and she is a woman of integrity in that will you do what you say you will do. All day long, she will do that. And then the fourth area of integrity is this thing of resilience, which we've already talked about. But she, you push her down, she gets back up. So, when she told me, I guess I'm a bitch, she was like, I didn't mean to come off that way. I'm just strong. And so what we had to do is ask her to kind of tilt over to soft. Just be soft for a while. We'll still get these events done. We'll still change the department. We'll get it all going. But if you want to get these people on board, you're going to have to soften just a hair. So, I think that's really important. So she had to build some skills around being more likable and less, running the show.
Hmm. I think it's almost like akin to broadcasting. If you're broadcasting, but the other people are not actually tuned into you,
Right.
you can't get 10 different people to change their radio receiver. You've got to
Mm-hmm.
change your broadcast. So, and if you are
100%.
on hard rock and they're all, I don't know, easy country, you got to get somewhere in the middle. You've got to find that ground where they're going to be able to listen to not only what you have to say, but then act on it. Okay.
Yeah, got to get them tuned in.
So we have self-assessment, trying to work out who we are. And yes, I love DISC as well. I love Strengths Finder. I love all those things.
Oh, yeah, I've got that one in my toolbox too. That one's really good,
Mm,
especially I think, for people who are new in their career. That one is so good.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it was the strengths thing was vital for me, really. I mean, I always thought I was a bit of a procrastinator, and it turns out I'm a learner. It's my second. It's my
Yeah,
second
yeah,
one.
yeah.
First
What's
is
your first
strategic.
one?
Strategic. Yeah, my first is strategic, and then it's learner. Then it's individualizer, which is a difficult one for a leader. So that's actually paying more attention to the individual than the team. So I made a mindset shift to actually recognize the team themselves as the unit, so that dealing with an individual became a subordinate to the benefit I had to the team. So that was kind of an interesting one. Anyway, so StrengthsFinder, I love StrengthsFinder. So we
Me
had
too.
self-assessment. We have creating the habits, doing the right things. Doing things right was probably your integrity piece here. So SHI, what's the N and the E?
Well, the N is for next right steps. And I'm a big believer in goal setting, but you probably know this like really sad statistic. It's been the statistic for a while in the research. Only 10% of adults have written down actionable goals that they visit regularly. And you're like, well, no wonder the world's a hot mess. We're not getting anything done. We're just rolling through the day. I say, gosh, please don't let your life unfold. You
Drift.
don't, yeah, yeah. And
Drift.
this is so real to me this week, Paul. My sister-in-law passed away at 61,
Oh
and
no.
that is so young. Oh yeah, and just had so much life ahead of her, right? I mean, she could, and she had so much energy. She got cancer, but like the thing is that she didn't let life unfold. She has been chasing her dream her whole life, and she's a horsewoman, and so she's had champion horses and a farm, and she's taught children to ride horses and all raised all these fancy horses and done this her whole life with such a passion. So it's so beautiful to see that. But that was her pursuit. I mean, for the last 35 years that I've known her, she's that's what she does. And when you're around her, you can just feel um the energy of excitement, and just I just think of all the kids she took to like 4-H camps and to state fairs and all this kind of stuff. So she was a very passionate person. And other people are just watching Netflix, and I don't understand, and I think you should watch some Netflix. You should have a day off. You should sit on the couch in your yoga pants and relax and drink the wine and read the book and do all the stuff. But you need to have something that you're after. One reason is because people with goals who are pursuing them usually are energized and have less depression or mental health issues. And right now in our world, post COVID, mental health is like a huge subject. And people who can get their heads focused on something bigger and do what I call a next right step, they can get that goal done. So there's a difference. So a goal is a like oftentimes big, and Jim Collins called it a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like, what's your next right step today? What's one little thing you could do? And a lot of times when I'm talking to people I coach, they think they need more education, and I'm all about education. But when I talk to them, college or a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, like that's a big, hairy, audacious goal. It's years of work. So I'm like, well, what's the first thing you could do to move towards your education? Well, I guess I could call over to the school. And I'm like, that's a very good next right step. Just call and find out, when do classes start? Can you be online? Can you be hybrid? Is all in person? What do you need to do? And then let's just take that college degree one step at a time, or starting a business, or deciding to hire, a new team, or whatever you're going to do. Like, what is just the next right step? And most people can do something this big, and it's when all those add up that we hit the goal.
That's it.
And it's fun.
It's you're trying to sow a seed at a time. You know,
Yeah,
one seed at a time. And now the thing about sowing seeds is you've no idea where they're going to land. Are they going to land on the rocky? Are they going to land on the fertile soil? Are they going to get eaten by weeds or whatever it is? You got to just
that's
keep
right. The
going.
birds could come and take it away.
Exactly. You've got to just keep sowing them. You've got to keep going. And one of them will take, one of them will go. You don't idea which one. You just keep going and keep going forward, one step at a time. I like that. What do you think? You're talking about goals here. What do you think about systems rather than goals? Creating those systems. Because as you,
Well,
you mentioned habits. Now, habits for me are kind of like systems. Because
yeah, yeah,
I got
yeah.
a willpower, so I need to know that I am the guy who gets up every damn morning when the thing goes next to my bed. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's the thing. If you run a business, you run a sales team, you better have some systems or you're going to be in a hot mess. If you don't have systems, you're in a mess. That you miss the system you're in is called a mess. So systems provide structure which holds you up as you're going towards that next right step, right? So if we were to go back to kind of the thing of going to school, I made the phone call, I signed up for one class, I'm going to try it on. Well, now you need a structure. where on your calendar are you going to read the books and write the papers? So your calendar is a system. Then you're going to also have to have maybe like people you study with. Who do I bring around me? And then if we translate that to business, if I'm going to go like into a new market, right? So I sell currently in North Carolina, but now I want to sell, in the entire Southeast. Well, now I need a system. I got to have a CRM, right? So I have to have a customer relationship manager software program. Which one should I buy? That's your next right step. Figure out which one to buy. Start talking to people, figure out the budget, right? You get that in place, and then we have to start inputting contacts into here and get in a system where we are following up and we are doing good notes and we are sending the handwritten notes and we're sending out the proposals and we're doing all the things. So systems enable the steps towards your goal, and they can create excellent habits. Like the thing about a CRM, I know you work with a lot of salespeople. Thing about a CRM, it doesn't work unless you work it. I mean, you got to put the information in there. You have to sit your fanny in a chair, and you have to touch the keys on the keyboard, and you got to collect the business cards. But here's what I know: when I work my CRM, I've got stuff that comes up on the day. It says this person needs a phone call, and you know what? What's so easy? Picking up this thing and making a
Mm.
phone call. And it's amazing how many times you pick this up, make a phone call, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so glad you called." Me too. What do you need? And if they don't need anything, you've at least done this amazing thing that we need to do when we're in business and in sales is now I'm top of mind. Whoever was in there before, I pushed them out because Nicole just called.
Yeah.
And so when I need something, I need training, I need coaching, I need leadership development, she's my gal. That's the one I call because she calls me. I'm not pestering them. I'm helping them.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So now we've got shine so far. We're coming on to the E.
Yeah. Yeah, so the E to me is absolutely so important. It's the fuel that's going to keep you lit from within. So being vibrant means you're lit from within. And so energy is huge. And Paul, I'm sure that when you're talking to your clients, a lot of people are like, we're overwhelmed, we're tired, we're worn out, all of this like wah, wah, down, down energy. And the first thing I say to whoever the leader is we have to change our language around our energy. So it's like I need to energize myself instead of I'm so overwhelmed, I'm so tired. Okay, so what are you gonna do? What are you going to do to get energized? So, energy is way bigger than one thing. It is actually six energies. So, the first energy is intellectual. So, a lot of times we get stuck or overwhelmed or tired because we're pursuing something or trying to do something and we don't have everything up here in our brain that we need. What do you need to learn or know or Google so you can move forward? A lot of people like to stay lost in their confusion.
Mhm.
It's like in today's world, you don't have to stay confused. There's a podcast, a YouTube video, uh,
Everything.
everything's available. Like just Google it and something will tell you. So get past this thing of, oh, I don't know. Okay, we'll find out. That's my advice on the first thing on intellectual energy. Find out. All right. The second energy is emotional energy. And so emotional energy is emotional intelligence. So I can use my emotions to propel me forward or to keep me stuck. And it is a choice. A lot of people don't think their emotions are a choice, but they are absolutely a choice. So when I have a positive outlook, an enthusiastic view of the world, I do get up out of bed at 5 o'clock and get rolling. That's how it works. And I get excited about my life. It's like I've got 24 hours. My sister-in-law no longer has 24 hours. She's got 0 hours now. Don't
Mhm.
miss that. So I got 24 hours to do something amazing. And so I choose my emotions. And people are like, what? But no, you do. And I won't go into a whole diatribe about emotional intelligence, but there's four buckets to emotional intelligence. There's self-assessment, which I love, but then there's self-management, and that self-management piece is choosing how to hold your emotions. So for example, in the morning, just like you, this whole office is full of books. We're the same animal. So I have a chair over here, and that's where I sit at 5 in the morning in my yummy cotton pajamas with my hot coffee. And I have a beautiful yard with flowers, and I pick flowers and I put them in a little vase, and I have a little puppy named Jack, and I sit in that chair every stinking morning. I mean, 7 days a week. It's my favorite thing. And I read uplifting, beautiful things that tell me God is good, life is good, everything's good. And I choose to feel that it is good. So there you go. And so the rest of my day is usually pretty dang good. So it's putting the things in your mind that evoke the positive energy, the positive emotions. Third energy is spiritual energy. And so spiritual energy could be religious, but it could also just be like carpe diem, seize the day. It could be that you're on a great team or you've got great people in your life. So again, it's this thing of like, I'm going to win today. I'm going around the Monopoly board one more time. I'm going to cross go and I'm going to get $200. People complain about their work and I'm like, you have this is this is wonderful that you have work. Have you ever been around somebody without a job who's looking? I- Be happy. You are blessed. You have somewhere to go
Don't
today
worry,
and you're going to
be
eat. Oh,
happy. Yeah.
what?
Don't worry, be happy.
Yes.
Yeah,
So spiritual energy. Yeah.
that's it. Don't worry, be
He's
happy. Yeah.
multi-talented, Paul Morton, multi-talented. Yeah. So anyway, so I get all excited about this, as you can tell, spiritual energy. All right. So there's that. And then the fourth energy is physical. And here's what I know. If you feel bad in your body, it's really hard to do good work. So I'm all about drinking the wine. I love the wine like Paul, but like you do have to like get on the treadmill, take a walk, do some yoga, eat a salad, everything in moderation. But if you feel good in your body, so if you don't feel good in your body, you gotta get a next right step to figure out how to feel good in your body. Last two energies is one. The fifth one is social. Your network really matters. You cannot do this life alone. You need some people to come alongside you. So you got to work your network. And speaking of networks, link in with me on LinkedIn, Nicole Greer, two E's in Greer. And then the last energy is financial. And again, just like your body, if your money is messed up, it is really hard to have a good day because you've got this big cloud hanging over you called debt or whatever it is. So you got to get your money together. And there's so many tools out there. Financial peace is my favorite tool to give to people or to tell people about when they tell me their money's all messed up. I'm like, you need to go to Financial Peace University and get yourself straightened out. Uh, and and it's okay. There's lots of people messed up in their money, but you can undo it and you'll survive, you'll eat, you'll do just fine. And on the other side of debt is freedom. And like, gosh, I don't know, freedom's probably the most delicious thing on the planet. So those are the six energies, and all of those affect what it is like to experience you.
Yeah.
And so I think you got to really work on those six energies. So habits are inside of the energies. You can get all sorts of habits in place. And once you get those six cooking, then you're whole. You have integrity.
You've just gone through your shine methodology framework here, and I, I love the way that we're both thinking and talking about the same things.
Hmm.
It's so much of leadership, so much of business is all about life. It starts and ends with life. It starts and ends with you. It starts and ends with getting your own shit together, if you'll excuse me. It starts
That's
and ends
exactly
with
right.
realizing that
Merde. He's going to France, everybody. Merde.
merde,
Okay.
merde alors. Uh, you've got to get your own stuff together. And then as soon as you get your own stuff together, you've got to get yourself out of the way and put other people in there. So do something
Hmm.
for somebody else. Sort yourself out but then put the other person there. So what's it like to experience you? This the other heart,
Mhm.
and that's your spiritual piece. That's the recognizing that you are in this service. Yeah,
That's right.
beautiful.
Mm.
If you could then share just one piece of your worldly wisdom with us all on this beautiful green planet, and I gave you 10,000 billboards and a big
Mm.
marker, what would you write on it for the world?
Get lit.
Okay.
All right. And lit is another little acronym. All right. So it means you need to lead with intention and attention. So I got that little intention, lead with intention and attention from a mentor. And the first person you lead is yourself. That's exactly what Paul just said. You start with yourself and then you start serving others. But there's this really old thing, lead by example. Well, dang if that ain't true. That is so true. And so work on yourself first, right? So I lead with attention and intention to what it is like to experience me. That's what leaders need to do first. We've all worked for a leader and we're like, he's a joke, she's a joke, he's terrible, she's awful. We've all worked for them. How in the world did they get promoted? I don't know. But we're not paying attention. We don't have attention and intention to who we put in leadership roles and who we are as a leader. The second thing, the I, is to integrate integrity. Work on the quality of your character. And I already mentioned how could you be more wise? How could you be more courageous? How could you be more in tune with the other humans in your life, humanity? And how could you be more resilient? There are 48 commendable character traits. If you want a list of those, email me at Nicole at Vibrant Culture and I'll send it to you. And then the last thing is look around and what can you transform? What can you change? So T is for transform the ordinary. And so the world is a mess because nobody is doing the change work. In fact, everywhere I go, Paul, they're like, oh, we have so much change going on. And I'm like, well, look at you. Because if you don't change, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to be in huge trouble. So, change is like the same word as opportunity. I don't know why we use change so much, um, but what is the opportunity just laying there? It's just right there. Start working on it. See, that's change management. It's not that complicated.
Things that don't change don't grow, and things that don't grow die.
Oh, that's exactly right. Yeah, and you were talking about the seeds. I have a quick story. Can I tell it real quick? Do you have
Please.
time for that? So my daughter is dating this lovely young man named Avery. Avery has a degree in agronomy. I had to go look it up. What the heck is agronomy? So it is caring for golf course turf and stuff, right? So he gets this fancy degree about caring for golf course. So he knows all about the plants and the seeds and the growing stuff and all these things. So Katie says to him, Avery, I would like to have a little garden on my porch. Well, these kids went and got these buckets, like this big around from Lowe's Home Improvement, and they have a jungle on their back porch. Well, in the process of growing all these seeds, because Avery has a green thumb, he brought them all to our house. My husband's like, what are we going to do with all this? I said, well, stick it in the ground. And he's like, we've never done this before, but when he was growing up, he had a garden and he has a little PSD from his mother's garden because he was forced to weed all the time. So anyway, he was not that happy about it. We stick this stuff in the backyard. It's an opportunity. Don't miss that. It's just laying there. Here are these seeds that are actually already growing. Come to our home. So we stick them in the backyard. We have had the best time this summer going down with a glass of wine to the garden at 5:30, 6 o'clock, when it was hot, hot, hot here in North Carolina, it'd be more like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and just taking a basket and just putting these vegetables in this basket and then cooking. I love to cook and cooking them. And the thing that has delighted me the most is my daughter chose tomatillos. And my husband's like, what in the world's a tomatillo? He's a good old boy from Wilkes County, North Carolina. I said, it's like a little green tomato, but it's like kind of sour. He's like, what are we going to do with all those? We've been eating green chili chicken enchiladas with great abandon around here. I
My,
mean, that's that's just that's how life is. We have had so much fun figuring out how to eat buckets of tomatillos and salsa. We got salsa and chip. When are you coming here? You're going to Paris. Concord, North Carolina could be your next stop, Paul.
see if I can get the plane to sort of do a circle, you know.
But that is what life has. It's like all these little things just pop up. Just take advantage of them. What are you doing?
I'm coming to your house to eat green chili chicken tomatillo tacos.
Oh,
It's a
so
thing.
good.
It's
It
a
is
thing.
so delicious.
Ah, we have to wrap it up. Where can we find you when we need you? We can
Okay,
find you on
just go,
LinkedIn. We know that.
yeah, LinkedIn and then vibrantculture.com. Real simple.
Vibrantculture.com. Marvelous.
Yeah.
Nicole Greer, thank you so very much indeed for joining me.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Paul Morton. Have a great time in Paris. Cheers.